Hey guys, this is Travis with Beyond Bipolar blog. I'm here with my brother. Today is going to be an interesting topic. It's kind of complicated and a little long-winded, but I figured that it might interest you guys for those that have mental health issues and dealing with the reality of adulthood, and a lot of that is higher education. Now, we are at the University of Minnesota campus, Minneapolis. However, just letting you guys know, we never went to the school. I felt like back in the past we were struggling with a lot of anxiety, and we felt the bigger classes would be too hard on us, so we never went. However, we did go to several schools. I want to say I went to 7 or 8, Kyle went to 5 or 6. And we'll discuss more about it.
Hey guys, this is Kyle, and we're gonna go walk to the stadium, see how it is, but I just wanted to mention, like we said, we went to the state fair. We used to have some really debilitating anxiety, and that's what our video is about. And the U of M, it seems pretty big, but now that I've been here 10 years after and our anxiety's managed, it's like second nature now, and it's not as big. And it surprised me walking how comfortable I am now compared to 10 years ago, and I realized it kind of stole a lot of my peace and happiness. What's your opinion on this anxiety?
So I just want to say that Kyle and I struggled with anxiety pretty much through our entire lives. We also were into performing music, piano especially, and percussion in
That was
elementary,
horrible.
middle school.
That was horrible
and
for
high
me. I
school.
hated it.
That was horrible. I really hated it too.
I really disliked.
Performing gave me a lot of
So
anxiety.
there's this guy, a Korean adoptee named David Taylor. We interviewed him, and he was asking what was his opinion on high school and did they have a good time. So let's talk about it first. Go
Well,
ahead.
Kyle wants us to talk about high school, and we already delved a little bit on it, but ever since the beginning and till the end of where we were at when it came to education, Kyle and I strictly focused on getting good grades. We did not think about the future, and up to our getting our degree at DeVry University, Edina, we clearly still had no direction, and we just focused on getting good grades. But anyways, let's talk about high school. Yeah, we experienced some bullying, and that might have contributed to anxiety, but when it came to 11th grade and 12th grade, I literally had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I remember the hand band teacher was just wondering what the hell I wanted to do with my life, and he was trying to encourage me to do something with music. And
Our piano teacher did too.
yeah, she wanted us to consider piano tuning, but we never even delved
Piano
into
tuning. I
that.
thought it was just being an instrumentalist.
Well, she did encourage us to do anything related to music. Hey guys, so we are at one of the structures at the University of Minnesota, Minneapolis campus. My brother really liked this structure. I don't know what it's called, but it must be pretty famous since it has such a unique structure to it. So anyways, we were at high school. He wants me to talk about grades. Colin and I actually did very well in school. I was in the top 10% salutatorian. My brother was almost salutatorian. However, just want to say before I dive into my college life and relating that to mental health, I just want to say that grades do not define how wealthy you become in the future. Take me for instance. Was very considered pretty well book smart, but I honestly don't make too much money, and I was diagnosed with a mental health issue that really affected my life and had me dive into several complications. However, when I take a look at my dad, he has like elementary school handwriting, maybe with practicum of high school, but he became pretty wealthy. And like I said before, grades do not define your success in life. So I want to say perseverance can go a long way, but same with the work ethic that will drive you in the future. I feel like if you are really in money and finances, you become pretty wealthy in the end.
So one of the kids asked about what his high school life was like. And would you go back to it? What's your opinion on that? Did you hate it? Did you find gratitude now that you're older in the education? I mean, I hated waking up early. I hated studying. I felt like there wasn't much of a reward, even though we were driven by the grades. I mean, Travis again got the top 10%, the salutatorian, but in the end I didn't make it, so I was kind of really down about that. It seemed like all that effort I did was just a waste.
You know, in terms of getting a diploma and it looking good on resumes and stuff like that, personally, I feel if it wasn't because of a job, which I'm not currently working right now, I almost feel that high school was pretty pointless. Didn't find any value what I actually find meaningful now. They didn't teach you about monetary finances. They didn't teach you about mental
How to
health,
live.
really, especially with bipolar disorder.
Bills.
Those are the things that actually allowed me to manage my life and try to delve into a more satisfied lifestyle.
But you still need education regardless. Otherwise, they won't hire you right now.
So-
Anyway, describe the high school life. What day to day, what did you think about it?
I don't know. High school was just high school. We didn't really have many friends. It was just get up really early, do well in school, come home, do homework, stay up a little bit late, work out, and then repeat. So really, it was just ordinary, but
Did you think you learned skills from there?
no, like I said, I just felt like high school was pointless other than it being meaningful in terms of getting a job in the future. But like I said, right now I'm not currently working. So can we delve into college life?
Yep, so now let's go to college. Describe where we're at now, actually.
So the year was 2005 when we graduated. That fall, Kyle and I entered into the University of Wisconsin, River Falls.
Do you remember the first day when we had trigonometry? We didn't have the same hour. Do you remember being really anxious walking in there? I hated it.
I don't remember it too much, but I do remember and recall that I think I did so well in environmental science that, or not, maybe it was environmental science, the lady thought I should be an environmentalist, and I just did it once again just to get good grades and prove myself. And geology, I ended up getting a book because I got the highest score in that class, and literally it was so pointless because I just focused on grades, knowing that I really didn't give a crap about what my future was holding.
You don't look smart, but I guess you are smart. Or is it because you just study hard?
So we spent the last year and a half not knowing what the hell we wanted to do and just wasting our time getting good grades.
And this was 2005, so we took that, I think, about for 2 years at the University of Wisconsin in River Falls. I mean, it was just liberal arts. That's about a 30-minute commute, and it sucked because you had to walk like 20 minutes away. That was horrible. Wasn't good at all.
And the reality is we did not want to live on campus because we would have to deal with people. Now, if I take a look back and if I went to school now and was back in the days where I probably would, if I knew I could afford it, probably would attend on campus or actually rent a house nearby.
It might have been fun, maybe.
Might have
But
been fun.
Anxiety
I missed out
stole
a lot.
Anxiety stole a lot of
I
our
missed a lot on
happiness.
the realities of life because primarily I was so
Interactions.
focused of getting good grades that I didn't focus on anything else. It was just,
like a job.
it was such a pointless attitude, a pointless philosophy that I do wonder, you know, did that contribute to my mental health? Because we were very antisocial. I remember in River Falls, Kyle mentioned that we had a psychology teacher and he was just wondering why we weren't talking to anyone and why we were quiet. So he came up to us expressing concern. I don't know if Kyle remembers that, but I do recall he was just curious and why we were so quiet.
Yeah, so that psychology teacher was Travis Dubray, the same name as my brother. And I remember him because he's the one that I ended up talking to about my anxiety issues at the University of Wisconsin, River Falls, and that was in 2007. So I guess we'll describe some of the courses that we took. A lot of it was just generals like art history, geology, environmental science, math. I remember chemistry. English, I remember him, his name was Alan Pound. I hated that because I'm a really bad procrastinator. I still think I am a bad procrastinator. It's probably why it really affected me because I remember having to stay up late and I would just procrastinate and it wasn't good. I'm not sure if I ever got over that, but aside from procrastinations, like when we went to school, we had to commute again and we had to walk like 20 minutes away and it was really freezing cold at some areas. But I remember just being pretty damn anxious. I mean, I got slightly used to it, but it just wasn't as well. So the University of Wisconsin River Falls, we were driving this really old Dodge Style 2 and it didn't drive very well. I remember we had to like brush the car windowsill with our hand because it was really old and the heater wasn't working. But
In terms of anxiety, I want to say it was at least an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it was
That's how bad it
horrible.
was. I hated the fact that I had no direction in life.
Do you remember when in high school we didn't even know what we wanted to do? I mean, we took personality tests and remember when we had to apply to the University of Wisconsin River Falls because we felt forced and we didn't care. Actually, I remember when, the good thing about college though life is that you don't have to wake up like astronomically like really early. So in the end we had like classes around like 10, like 11:30, unlike high school, which is kind of ironic. You'd think that we'd be able to stick with it more, but I don't know.
I just want to say that, you know, Kyle and I really like to live a sheltered life. We don't typically enjoy being independent. We struggled with that for a very long time, and we kind of still struggle with that today. And it primarily was because of anxiety and other mental health that later showed up.
It really
like
ruled
my
our
bipolar
life,
disorder and
unfortunately.
Kyle's anxiety and depression. So that pretty much covers River Falls.
River Falls kind of got us all our generals, and I think we made the mistake. I think we should have went to smaller school, just get our associates at least, because in the end, again, we ended up making the switch. We actually took a communications course. Didn't you get an A in that though, even though it was public speaking?
I think I did well. I just remember bringing Maya the Sheltie.
So we did like a video game kind of thing, and I thought that we should go into video games, but we ended up going to Academy College in animation. So go ahead and describe that.
So Colin and I thought we'd do something more creative since we did have a creative interest, like art. So we did Academy College for like maybe 3 months or 6 months, and then we went directly to Brown College for, how long were we there, a year?
Yeah, so that had to have been what, 2007? So River Falls, we went to school in fall of 2005 to, I believe, of fall 2006. And in January, went to Academy College in January 2007 to what? Describe
July,
it.
maybe?
So we only stayed there for July, and we took like 2 semesters. The thing is, these semesters were really speeded, so we didn't have to take them as long, which is probably better because the semesters at River Falls lasted like about like the normal 6 months. What courses did we take there again? Drawing. And we didn't even do
graphic
animation.
design,
Yeah.
Animation. Yeah, we did. We took this storyboarding class.
Oh yeah, but not like 3D animation though, like what we really wanted to do.
And that pretty much describes Academy College. Back then, I wasn't clinically diagnosed bipolar, and I wasn't experiencing a lot of bipolar symptoms. Colin and I were working for irrigation for 2 years up to 2007, but my bipolar didn't happen 2 years later. So in terms of how Academy College affected us, it affected us in fact that we would stay up late doing art. And yeah, I agree that being up late for that is probably worth it because we actually have art that we've done that we kept that's really good enough for us to be in a portfolio. So that's also good to know.
So we can move on to Brown College. So again, we went to Brown College. I believe we started in the fall of 2007. Yeah. So we'll describe the game design. How was the classes there for you? Describe some of the courses. You go ahead first.
In terms of anxiety, depression, it's probably really, really bad. Not my worst, but generally I would just want to speak that we had a teacher that was pretty much an a-hole, and it made me really stressed out, and we would be up late because we could not get along with some of our group members trying to design a board game. And literally, that took the passion out of doing any type of video games. I totally lost interest in playing them just because I realized the reality of how stressful making a video game is.
Yeah, so I want to describe a little bit about that. We were both team leads for our game design. This was making a board game. Surprisingly, it was really stressful. I remember yelling. My team kept failing. For some reason, they designated me as the lead. Actually, for some reason, people thought we were pretty responsible or cared about school, so we always were like leads in various projects, and unfortunately, a lot of them were unreliable. So basically, I had to do a lot of the work myself. So the very first class we took was just a regular intro to game design. We mainly just developed like our own small board games, and I think we took programming, which we did horrible. I'm not a programmer, and I don't think I am. I mean, I know right now they make a lot of money, but aside from that, I didn't do that great. But at the end, we got like A's and B's, and we took some general courses.
We also did
Level design.
level design, and we also did.
And that was like the second half of the year. I mean, the second quarter was just horrible. That was with the actual board game design, which I'm not a really game concept designer. I mean, if I think about it now, maybe it would have been kind of fun, but I hated the late hours. I mean, but anyway, with game design, it was called concept design. I just hated it. The teacher was an asshole. I remember there was a time where he's just really intense. I think he was in the military as well, and he's just that typical sergeant. I mean, he was really mad that someone wore pajamas, and I mean, again, he was like angry that someone made kind of a funny game design name. But I remember just being really stressed. I didn't get a lot of sleep, and like I said, the recruiters that created this whole game design, he said what really makes people want to be game designers is losing sleep. So in losing sleep and feeling like crap and waking up late, working on projects really late, just really wasn't good for our mental health. So with that being said, 3D modeling was okay, but for some reason by that time, with my level design, I did horrible too at the end. This is with us, where Travis and I start really, really off good, but our staying power is just never good, so we just end up quitting. I mean, even our friend who followed us from Academy College came there too, and he wanted to stay a little longer, but he ended up staying probably because we didn't want to stay. I mean, our staying power just really isn't good. I think we cared too much about the grades. I remember there was times when my brother was really in a rush to want to learn, like, he's creating those characters, and when he's creating those 3D animation, he wanted to wake up early, do this, and I didn't want to do it. I kind of have more of a chillax. They say that you have to like keep on improving, work really hard, and in the end, I didn't want to do it. So I don't know, my brother, I feel like became lazier than me. He doesn't like put as much effort. I still do put in much effort, but in the end, I feel like it's better off to pace yourself. You don't have to go all out. In the end, pace yourself small. I think in the end, it's about lasting longer. So in the end, why like rush and I have more of a chillax view. I'm not as a rush, but I do feel like hard work does matter to something. So I wanted to talk more about my experience with DeVry. So between Brown College and DeVry, this is when my brother took business courses, I think, and I was in between. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. So in the end, I ended up going back to University of Wisconsin in River Falls to do psychology, ironically. But I felt like I'm too messed up in the brain to even want to do psychology. I actually thought I wanted to go into therapy and get a master's in there when I was dating like in 2011, I think, my first ex. But anyway, I did go to the University of Wisconsin, River Falls for a little bit. And I think before that, that's actually when in 2008, I believe, that was actually when I came out and talked to my psychology teacher at University of Wisconsin, River Falls. And the irony is I went back to it, and that had to been in 2008, I think, maybe 2009, January, I think, maybe. Yeah, so I only end up going there till January to March, because in the end, I took this law course and I never failed the course, but I actually failed that test, and I think that's part of the reason that I wanted to quit. So I quitted that midway, so I didn't even finish the psychology degree. So that's when we ended up going to DeVry University, and DeVry University was 2009, and it was an online school. So I think because we were dealing with our own things that we thought that the online degree was better, and then I think that's how we held it. So we managed to stay there, I think, for almost a year, and there's speeded up courses. I think the courses only lasted like 6 weeks maybe, but we took a lot of business courses, and for us, we end up majoring in technical management. So I actually remember back in 2009, I actually quit a semester. I don't know if Kyle kept going, but it was my first suicide attempt in a rope. Went to Virginia, came back, wanted to hang a rope, kill myself. You were really upset with Dad when you were saying that he is going to school for him, I remember. He was purposely going to school for Dad because you were having eye strain back then. Remember that? You yelled at him when you were trying to study?
Yeah.
But we somehow both, so we ended up actually finally getting our degree. It was a mixture of all conglomerates.
So
it included all animation,
all
our game design, our business.
All that crap we did, it ended up helping us. It didn't matter if one was regionally accredited or nationally accredited, because there's definitely some issues, but they accepted all of them.
Some of them, most of them.
Most of them.
But it did help us finish. But if I think about it and redone it now, we probably should have
So the degree was called Technical Management. It's just basically an individualized degree, and that's what we ended up with. So,
and that was in 2009
then we graduated in 2010.
Spring, and we got our we ended up getting our degree in 2008 or 2009 in October, I think. So I guess congrats to us. Through that, we ended up finally getting it in 2009.
I thought it was
it felt
2010.
pretty, 2010. It felt pretty good, but that's actually when I started with and I think once I got my bachelor's degree, so during this time was 2009 or 2010, and we got it, I think, in October, and that's actually when I started working too at Wells Fargo, and I kind of was still kind of lost, unfortunately. So I actually, like I said, I almost thought I wanted to go into therapy. I actually ended up going, I don't know, a person like me, I like the mind, I like the psychology, it interests me, but I feel like I got too much loose screws, so I end up ditching that, and I end up just doing computers. So I end up going to Century College. I think this was in 2011, I believe, and going into school. So I finished the first course of microcomputer technology management. I think it was just an associate's at Century College. And with that, I only stayed there for 6 months, and after another maybe 2 months after that, I end up ditching it. I ended up quitting. I remember my ex was kind of upset that I just quit, but I just got annoyed and I just quit. That's like what I do. I'm a quitter, and that's why I'm afraid of going to school now. So, Travis, didn't you take like other courses too? Maybe you could describe that.
So my friend was going to school in orthotics, so I decided
Yeah,
that
I
maybe I
forgot
want to do
about that.
orthotics. So I ended up
Wow,
going
you're
to
a switcher.
I went to DCTC
That was worth
and
it.
Century College for just
You were
pointless-
working too. Wasn't describe that.
Nah, that was before I went to Century College and DCTC, but
So describe that. Wasn't that? So that was before or after?
that was actually after. Work was before, and then in 2011, I decided to go to Century College and DCTC. Oh wait, no, that might have been 2009. Late
You're really
October.
stressed out though. Do you think that contributed to your bipolar?
Well, back then, I think the akathisia from wrist
And this was
really
when?
killed me.
2009?
2009, yup.
So
Maybe
then,
September 2000.
then when did you go in orthotics with David? In Century
wait,
College?
no, it had to have been
'Cause
2010.
you went to Century College too.
I did, and I can't remember the course I took. I don't know. I ended up leaving Century College, but I did stay with DCTC for a semester, taking biology, human anatomy, and physiology course. And that's pretty much it until 2012, where I decided to get into piano technician school.
What about your engine school?
Never
though?
finished it after 13, 11 years.
And we're still trying to study it.
And the only thing I finished was the Stratford College as a small entrance diploma, which is
That was
probably the
worth
most
it.
pointless thing I ever done.
But in the end, like I said, we can probably summarize it up again. As you can see, we end up switching majors a crap load of times. We didn't know what the heck we wanted to do with our life. We were very lost. I mean, maybe if our parents didn't pay for it, we probably wouldn't have gone, I don't know, or stick with it. But in the end, I know education still did matter. That bachelor's degree did get me that test scoring gig. So, and it got my brother that test scoring gig. So it still helps, but I'd say we didn't really master anything. But again, I guess we'll describe what we all went to.
What do they say? Master of all and master of none?
Yeah,
or
we're
something?
pretty much jack of all, master of none. We'll summarize it up again. 2005, 2006, we were at River Falls. And between 2007, the early semester, we were at Academy College. And then between, what was that, fall of 2008 to maybe January of 2000, I think it was
Brown College.
8 is Brown College, and in 2009 we end up switching around again. Travis ended up going to Brown College for business technology. I ended up going into psychology. We both quitted that again.
Then
And
2010,
then
2010, we
So when
did
we
DeVry
graduated.
University.
We went to DeVry University.
Got a
We
bachelor's.
bachelor's. So I guess if we could all do it all over, I think we should have just stuck with a smaller school, just get our credits through there.
Although I
And-
do regret someone going to the national college degree, like Brown College and Academy College, because the problem is that nationally accredited courses don't do well in regionally accredited. Most of the prestigious ones are regionally accredited. How do you feel? Would you rather get a nationally accredited school and complete game design or animation,
It's
or
not-
go
I
for
care more about if they get split open, just in case you can't pass it. So that's what I recommend. What's your recommendation for
I'd
new
rather,
college?
for new college students, just get your generals done.
Yeah, get your generals drawing at a cheap
And make sure it's regionally
just
accredited.
get
because
associates,
mostly
especially if you
they'll
don't know what you
accept 'em.
want. And I think it's okay to not know what you want. I think the 20s were a time of some people where it's people are lost, and that's okay.
Hell,
Like
to be
us.
honest with you, I don't think a degree means much. Other than the fact, if you know for sure you want to specialize in something and you want to for sure do it, great. Doesn't matter if it's national or regionally accredited.
So
What did we learn about
some
anxiety?
wisdom. So that
It
in
really,
the end,
it really can disrupt your life.
So-
Anxiety.
in the end, I feel like I think the 20s are just a difficult time. I actually think it's worse than the 30s. You don't know yourself. You don't know what you
We go
want.
this way.
And I'm speaking for some, not everyone, but it's okay to not know what you want. It's okay to explore. It's okay to make mistakes. If you don't know what you want, I think it's okay. You don't have to be guilty about it.
We went up
So,
the stairs somewhere.
After that, we end up like doing some other education things, but because of our horrible track record of inability to stick with anything, we thought that we just, well, he did stick with engines, and he got that. He got a certification and a license, just like me, where I end up finally getting my A+ certification. So after I quit Century College, I ended up getting my A+ certification. That was actually a pretty, it wasn't exactly hard compared to the one that we did now. We end up restudying for our A+ certification, CompTIAs, between 2019, and then I ended up passing mine last year in June. And unfortunately, after my brother's 14th time, he still couldn't pass, unfortunately. So right now, I don't know. I don't know if I should go back to school. Thinking about it here, I think I would have enjoyed my time
We wanted
a
to
lot
try to
more.
we wanted to try to do IT.
Yep,
But
so
you decided not to.
I was going to go to IT again last 2019 in Phoenix, but I didn't know if I could stick with anything because I have a horrible track record. And because of that, I'm a lot more, I don't know if I want to go in debt. But I don't know, I'm right now in that moment. What about you? What are your plans
I
about
don't give
school?
a shit. I
or
just
you don't
wait
think
till
you-
tomorrow. That's my attitude. Why work today when you can work tomorrow?
Is there any other last advice about yourself you would say to yourself about all this schooling? So in the end, like, we switched our majors a lot. We didn't know what the hell we wanted to do. And in the end, it was okay. I think this is just normal for most people. But in the end, just try, do. Sometimes it just matters about trying and doing and just making mistakes. That's my opinion.
Although I
there
have
any
to,
other last
although I have to
things?
say, people that know what they want are probably better for the
Yeah,
future.
they're probably more equipped. I mean, when we're gonna go pick our dad soon, and these guys are like dentists, and they stayed with schooling a long time, and they're gonna make like $1,500 off the cap. And I look at them and think about, wow, what the hell did I do with my life? Nothing, really. But so I felt a little guilty and ashamed. But in the end, I'm still doing videos. I think it's still doing something. I don't know if I should go back to school, because the thing is, I only held the job less than 4 months at a time seasonally, and the most I worked was 3 different jobs, probably like 9 months. And I feel like if I go to school now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to stick with it. That's my problem. So, are there any last things you want to say before we cut it off?
Nah, man, I just feel like anxiety really ruined us, and we didn't unfortunately get over it or manage it till much later. But school's over.
Can always go back if you really want to. I guess
I don't
it's
want
a
to be in
decision,
debt. That's a
but
problem. I don't want the debt. So
do you think you'd be able to stick with it if you tried it?
probably it just
What would you major in? What would you want to go in if you had a choice?
probably art or music, but mostly art because I still have jitters when it comes to performing.
I probably would be computers, because I feel like computers just the best for the second shift. But all right, is there anything else you want to say before I end it?
Nope.
All right, we'll see you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Hopefully you enjoyed our time at our walk here.